Go in the back. Bang, let's go, baby. Let's go. It's 2 in a row.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, as promised, I have my April in the bag update. I'm also going to kind of go over what I learned from listening to the book right here in the corner. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm gonna kind of go through this a little quick because a lot of it still is the same. Some things have changed, not much, but we'll get into that here in just a second. The ones that have changed, I'll go into a little bit more detail, but the stuff that stayed the same, I'll keep it pretty short and sweet and to the point. Still rocking the same bag. I haven't had a need to switch bags or anything. So putting putters, obviously I still got an embark and a dime. A little bit more glide on this thing. I can kind of circle 2 outside of circle looks, circle 1 inside of circle looks. That's the same. I didn't talk about this when I first in the bag because it's kind of new, but I've got a Berg K1X Berg. It's a glow version. But it's pretty stable. I can throw this thing pretty hard and it's still gonna fight, go straight for the most part, and then have a reliable fade at the end. This one of my approach discs. I have 3, and they all kind of work with each other. I also have a NXT Devil Hawk from Gateway. This thing going back in my bag has been a lot of fun, and it's worked out really well for me. Now I throw this thing 100 feet, no wind. I can just toss it up there and it'll plop and sit. This thing, I can throw it into the wind, and it's gonna, because it's a putter, it's gonna sit like a putter. But it's still got a decent amount of overstability. I can use it flex lines and kind of work it around trees and stuff like that. And then the Justice, y'all know I love the Justice, my favorite disc ever. These 3 work really well together. The Justice I'm using more for throws off the tee, something that I don't mind skipping a little bit, that I might need to get a little movement to the right when it hits the ground. But Devil Hawk, it usually will sit where it hits, and same with the Berg. But 3 approach discs. And then obviously these 2 are still the same. I've got the Koi in here, jump putts with death behind them. I'll throw this thing, or if I'm laying up with death, throw the Koi, floppy, it's gonna sit. And then the Psychic, I still got the Psychic. I'm not bringing this out as much as I have been in the past because of the Devil Hawk. It's kind of becoming a workhorse for me. Same with the Berg, but I'll still throw the Psychic if I'm in trouble in the woods and I need something to get out of the woods on a tomahawk or a thumber and move, pretty quickly. But I still got the Psychic. It's still got a use in here. I just don't throw it as much. All right, so that's all for the approach discs. We'll go ahead and move towards the fairway drivers. Okay, so I've got 4 fairway drivers. We'll start with the go low to high when it comes to speed. I've got an Evader. This is a brand new addition to my bag. I love this thing. 7 speed, overstable. I can get it to turn. It's a 7.40 2.5. For me, it flies more like a 7.5 -1 2.5. Maybe even a 3. Kind of like an Eagle, but it feels better in the hands to me. Throw this thing, like I said, it'll turn for me, and then it's gonna have that reliable fade. It's pretty straight for me, so I'm really enjoying having this in my bag. It's just a step up from the Justice. All right, next one is I've got a Z-Swirl Reaper. These things, they don't make these things anymore. This is I believe this is the Ledgestone, the 2023 Ledgestone edition, and this thing is becoming a workhorse in my bag too. 8 speed, I want to say 8303 or something along those lines. This thing will go straight for me for a good little while and then fade right. another step up from the evader. I can throw it at a flex line and it'll fight out of it. But mainly it's used for straight in the wood lines that will fade at the end. Yeah, this thing, I'm really taking a liking to this thing. Next, I've got two Raptors. I've got the titanium Raptor, and I've got a Captain's Raptor, the last year's Captain. I have a new Captain's Raptor, but they fly the exact same. I'm going to keep this in the bag for as long as possible. But yeah, the titanium Raptor will turn for me and then fly straight and then fade. This thing will not turn at all and just fade. I use this a lot on approach lines that I need to kind of get down a hallway pretty quickly and skip to the right, push to the right. This thing is a workhorse. This is used mainly for off the tee. I can throw this thing about 310 to 330. But when I throw it, it turns for me. And then it's going to ride straight for a little while and then fade. But yeah, but I got two Raptors in here. They both fly differently. I will move on to the distance drivers because there's a bunch of distance drivers in here. Also, guys, I'm sorry. I wanted to get out to the course and throw these and show you how they fly, but we've had so much rain here recently, and with work and all that stuff, it's been kind of hard to get out there. So haven't really had the opportunity to do any of that, but yeah. Anyway, all right, so I've got two 11 speeds. They're both used for tomahawks. I've got two Hooligan vibes. And the way that these are different is pretty funny how different they are, but they're the same disc. This one, throwing in the woods, throwing at a hard straight line, it'll corkscrew pretty quick and not do too much other than that. I love this thing. And then this vibe, signed by Ben Kimmery, thank you very much, Ben, with the Tomahawk drone on it. It's a little bit more pop-top than the other vibe that I have, or yeah, the other vibe that I have. So this one I'm going to use for shots that need to go left. Throw it hard at a Tomahawk straight line, it'll pan, hit the flight plate, bounce off the pop-top, and then skip left or skip straight. Yeah, both of these are kind of more utility discs than distance drivers, but that's what I use these for. So next I have two Wanderlusts from Hole 13. This one is a little bit more stable than this one, but they're both 12.5 -1.2. They both are bombers. I've gotten these up to 375 before, which is pretty far for me. If I throw them correctly, that's the thing, I gotta throw them correctly. But yeah, both of these are bombers. This one will end up getting replaced here eventually with another one after they come out with the retooled one. Spoiler alert. But yeah, these, if there's no wind, or very little wind, I could throw these, or a tailwind either. Now throw these and they'll fly forever. But these are strictly forehand discs. All right. Next, I have 4 Hooligan Yeets. This is my primary distance driver. I'll kind of go through each one and tell you what they are and what they do. So you guys have seen this one a ton. Tomahawk Yeet, that's all it's used for. 99.9% of my percent of the time, I'm taking out a Yeet. This is gonna be this one, and it's for a Tomahawk. It's gonna be this one. Beat in really good. A little bit more flippy than it was when I first got it, but this is the old Lone Star run. But it still works just fine for me. Then I have put in a new Yeet. New-ish Yeet. This is one of the newer Yeets. I think it's in the Primo plastic, but I'm not 100% sure. It's a little bit more stable than the old Yeet. But I use this one for Tomahawks also. I used to throw it forehands, but I've changed that. That's another thing that's changed my bag. But this is another Yeet strictly for Tomahawks that's a little bit more stable than the Yeet that I just showed you. All right, so this is forehand Yeet. Throwing this forehand, it flies like a destroyer. It's gonna have a reliable fade at the end. I can flex it if I don't throw it too hard. I can flex it. It'll work flex lines pretty good. But I've gotten these These yeets, when throwing forehand, I've gotten them up to close to 400. Not quite 400, but close to it, which is insane to me. Again, I have to throw them right when it comes to consistency, which I don't have. But yeah, this is my forehand yeet. And then last but not least, I have a first run yeet that is a little bit more pop top than the rest of these. This is just used for approaches, kind of like the Vibe. I'll throw it hard on a line and it'll hit the flight plate, pop top, and skip a little bit farther than the Vibe goes. I also use this for rollers. It rolls pretty good. Still to this day, the farthest roll I've ever had, about 450 feet. Use this for rollers. That's about all this thing is used for. So it's another utility disc, but it's one of the 4 yeets I have in the bag. All right, and the last 2 things I have in here are, I've got a Jake Wolf Nuke OS, super overstable. Throw it in the wind as a forehand or a tom. Most of the time I'm throwing this as a tomahawk, but if I throw it as a forehand, I can flex it and it'll fight out of it. Super really heavy headwinds, I'll throw this at a forehand and let it kind of do its thing. But it's 98% of the time I'm throwing this as a tomahawk. And I have this really old Nuke OS Z plastic, really gummy. Not as gummy as the Z Flex, but still pretty gummy. Another tomahawk disc. It's almost not noticeable, the difference in stability between these two. I want to say this one is just a tad bit more overstable just because of the plastic. But yeah, these two work pretty well off of each other. That's it for the bag part, but let's go ahead and get into this book that I read that has completely changed my mindset in my game. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little story first. And I know most of this video is just me talking directly at you guys, and I apologize for that. There's no plan, but the next 2 weeks you'll have 2 tournaments, so it'll kind of make up for that. But little story first. Sitting at home on my off day watching, I can't remember if it was Waco or, as a matter of fact, it was Waco. Watching Waco, wife comes home from work. She watches, a couple of minutes of it, sees a missed putt, and she's like, "Golly, you guys make that look so hard." And I'm telling her, like, yeah, it is hard. It's extremely hard. It's probably the hardest part of the whole game. It's being able to putt. And she goes, "Yeah, I don't know about that." So what we did was, we went outside and I showed her, how to putt a disc, because she's never really done it before. And I was like, so it's pretty difficult. You give it a try, and then so this happened. So what is the key to successful putting?
You just put it in. It's not hard.
So after, me tucking tail and running back inside, I got on, YouTube and watched a couple videos, and I saw, I believe it was Jay Millie's video with him and Isaac Robinson mention this book, and I also saw Bedanza mention this book. And I'm big in like mindset and sports psychology, stuff like that, so I read it. I think right now it's free on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but it's free on YouTube to listen to, and that's how I say read, but I listened to it. And I kind of had a couple pretty big takeaways from it. And it's really kind of transformed my mindset and my game a little bit. And one of those things, and I'll put my 4 biggest takeaways, is kind of letting the game come to you. Especially, playing golf, there's a way of being aggressively conservative when it comes to your shots and stuff, and I feel like that embodies my game pretty perfectly. Most of the time when I'm playing these tournaments, I'm playing a course for the first time. Sometimes not so much, but most of the time I'm playing a course for the first time, and letting the course come to me versus me trying to attack the course is what's gotten me in trouble in the past. So I kind of working on letting the course show itself to me, just making the smart decision, but still being aggressive with it. Which, I mean, it comes out as an extremely aggressive play when I'm throwing tomahawks and stuff, but that is just my bread and butter. That's just what I know that I can do fairly well. So it may look aggressive, but most of the time it's just it's a safer play for me, and that's something I took away from this book. Another thing I took away from this book is being able to have a very rubber mind when it comes to putting and making shots. And what I mean by that is we throw a bad shot, oh well, it's over with, it's done, it's in the past, what's next? And I have struggled in the past. If you guys, have been watching the channel for a while, you've seen I've struggled in the past with throwing, making mistakes, mistake after mistake after mistake, compounding stuff. Take a bogey, take another bogey, a couple holes later, take a bogey, make a birdie, take another bogey. It's just compounding mistakes. And I've trying to take it one shot at a time. And especially in my last video that you guys saw about me in Falling Creek, that's when I really tried to hammer home, oh, well, what's next? And I scrambled better than I've scrambled in my entire career that day, except for the one hole that we mentioned already. But trying to take it one shot at a time has really, really helped me improve in the mistake category. So the third thing I took away from this book it had to do with putting. And ball golf and disc golf are pretty different in a lot of ways, but a lot of ways they're similar. And one of those ways is kind of putting and understanding how you're being committed and trusting your stuff. And all that stuff doesn't come without practice. I practice putting probably 2 or 3 times a week. I have a basket in my backyard that my neighbors let me use, and I do practice putt fairly often. But it's the mindset when it comes to it, like stepping up to a putt, imagining it going into the basket, which is, I made a mention of that last video. That's kind of what I was doing with the first part of my routine. And then having a routine, keeping your mind blank, trusting your muscle memory of how often you've thrown this exact putt. You've done this 700 times before. And just trying to keep your mind blank and focus on, the muscle memory of it, the monotony of the routine, and then just tossing the putt. That has been, it's still something I'm working on because it's been really tough for me, because I get in my head, especially when it comes to putting. But that has been a big light bulb moment for me, especially with this book, that has kind of transformed my ability to mentally understand why putting can be so difficult, unless you're my wife. Those are the 3 main things I took from the book. I took a bunch of stuff. I have a notebook in my car where I've kind of wrote down some stuff that I'll take with me to courses, and I'll just kind of read over it and read back on top of it, and just kind of try to get my mindset in that position that I need to be in. But those are the 3 biggest things that I've taken away from this book, and it's helped so far. So we'll kind of see how things transpire. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's just me sitting in front of a camera again, which is probably pretty boring for you guys. But like I said, next week I will have, the next 2 weeks you'll have 2 tournaments. So this weekend, which I'm filming this on Thursday, sending it out on Friday. So Saturday, I'm playing in a Pro-Am in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's 2 rounds, 1 day. You guys will see that next Friday. And then the same weekend on Sunday, I'm playing in a Pro-Am in Newport News, Virginia. It's just a 30-minute, 45-minute drive from each other. And you guys will see that the following weekend. It's technically all the same tournament, but it's 2 different Pro-Ams with different clubs. I'll explain more next weekend, but you guys will have both of those. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like button, hit the notification bell. I post every Friday. You don't want to miss next week's post. Yeah, let me know if you guys want to listen to this book and kind of the stuff you take away from it. And And let me know if you got any suggestions for my bag. Right now, I'm loving it. Things are working in the right direction for me. There's not a disc in here that I'm uncomfortable with, which is a first. So it feels pretty good to have that. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. See you next Friday.